Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Eric Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. She is the best tag team partner in all of wrestling podcasting. She's the one, the only Shay Hickson. Shay, what's going on, my friend?
What is going on? Back to our usual schedule
Yes,
today.
yes, back to our usual schedule, back to our usual format. A lot to talk about. The This Week in Wrestling, which is, by the way, this is a wrestling podcast for those are first time, first time listeners. This Week in Wrestling has been absolutely insane between the hot week that WWE had between all of their programming, plus this weekend is Forbidden Door for AEW. There's a lot to talk about. So before we get into it, just to let everybody know again, that is a first-time listener to the podcast. The Ringside Rundown podcast is a question and answer based podcast where Shay and I get questions from our loyal listeners about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, and we answer them here on the show. And like I said, we also have to talk about Forbidden Door that's happening this weekend. So before we get into the questions, which is our usual format, why don't we start with what's going on with Forbidden Door happening on pay-per-view this Sunday?
Yeah, let's go for it. We got, what did you say, about 9 matches to go through, so.
Yeah, as of right now, the card sits at 9. We still have a Go Home Dynamite show and a Collision and a Rampage, so, you know, they might throw in some stuff there. There's also the 0 Hour, which they like to pack in a couple matches there.
Fingers crossed we don't, because yeah. Because we talked about it before in the production meeting. It's just like, I think we've gotten so used to these like smaller cards that once you start getting all these other extra matches on there, you're like, oh, this is not going to be good, because inevitably there's going to be a match. I guarantee you, we come back next week and we talk about Forbidden Door, there's going to be one match on the card at least where we're going to go, why didn't they give them more time?
Yeah. Why didn't they give them more time? Not only that, we're probably gonna come back, and when we do the recap, have to talk about a match that wasn't even advertised at the time of recording this episode. So it's gonna be very interesting. The card is solid, but again, as we discussed in the production meeting, I do feel the card itself is a little lackluster for costing $50 a pay-per-view, you know?
Yeah, the fact that you can only pick maybe if you're stretching it, 3 matches out of those, where you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to those. That's not good.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff, you just wonder why it wasn't promoted more. And then a lot of stuff I'm just confused by, but let's get into it. All right. We have the first match I want to talk about, just to get it out of the way, and it does have some interesting parts that I'm into, is the learning tree that is Chris Jericho, the Redwood Big Bill, and the Bad Apple Brian Keith. They'll be taking on Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. We all know my feelings about Chris Jericho. We all know my feelings about the learning tree. But I am really, really, really invested in the other trio, Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. I think they're great. They're fantastic. And AEW should really invest some time into them.
I agree, which means Jericho and them are going to win, because that's how this always works here. But I really hope not. I would like to see him just get the shit kicked out of him. But you're just so preconditioned to that might happen, but then he's just going to find some chicken shit way to win. And it's just, oh, well, we got one over on you guys again. Better luck next time. It's just like, do we really need this?
Yeah.
Do we really need this?
But again, it's Samoa Joe, Hook, Shibata. Samoa Joe's kind of been like the ipso facto leader, mentor of the group, and Hook and Shibata even are picking up on his little nuances,
the
like
walkaways.
The walkaway spot. So it's just like, to me, as I'm watching this, I'm like, this is what they should have done. This is what they wanted out of Jericho, but you weren't going to get it out of Jericho because he's too, kind of focused on himself.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe can actually make it look like he's kind of mentoring Hook, and then you add in Shibata, who this is great because Shibata in Japan was known as an absolute killer, an absolute psychopath that I've talked about a million times now. He's not necessarily in a comedic role, but he's understanding how to be entertaining in the States, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, he has some personality.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta go along with your prediction. My heart wants the Samoa Joe Hook and Shibata contingent to win, but I feel like Chris Jericho's probably in Tony Khan's ear saying, "Hey, let's give us the W here. We need it."
Yeah, it'll do wonders for everybody involved.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure Chris Jericho.
Hate it.
So wise, so wise.
Ugh.
Uh Another match that I'm kind of looking forward to is Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. These two have met before back in, I believe, 2010, I want to say. They did have a little video package, but I would love to seen Shingo in a match before. I feel like Shingo is a perfect fit if he ever decided to leave Japan and wanted to come to the States. If he wanted to go to AEW, he would be a great fit there. This is going to be a great match. I'm sort of one of those people that look at Bryan Danielson and I forget that not only are we winding down to the final little legs of his career, but he is getting up there in age. So like the match that they had before is not going to be the exact same match that they're going to have on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you got to give it to probably Danielson.
Right, because
Yeah.
this is a tournament match for the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament.
Yeah,
So
you
this
gotta
is
always gotta give him the belief that Danielson's gonna win the whole thing, but
right, right. I think in purpose of the Owen and the promo that Danielson cut, which I know we have a question for, so I'll save for later. But I do know that that gave him a lot of legs in terms of winning or at least going to the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament.
yeah.
All right, so we both have Danielson to win that match against Shingo Takagi, but it should be fun. A match that I'm kind of perplexed by, I'm not gonna lie, is MJF versus Hechicero. This is a regular singles match. No disrespect to Hechicero, who's a really fascinating, intriguing wrestler. But MJF's first match back on pay-per-view since having his injury and losing the title against Samoa Joe
In his hometown.
in his hometown again. Yeah, I just feel like Hechicero's the best we could have done here. And again, no
Yeah.
no disrespect. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying in terms of this is a pay-per-view that we have to sell, where we have to
Yeah.
make money. I just
Yeah.
don't know if Hechicero's the right name for right now in the States.
I think the problem is that they wanted it to be Roosh, but then that whole CMLL AAA thing kind of fucked everything up.
Yeah, yeah,
So I guess that
that
was just the scramble. I guess of just hey, we have him. He
yeah.
can work, right? Like
Mm,
totally a pay per view worthy match. I guess. I mean, do we even have to ask?
yeah, and
It's
it's like
MJF.
and the match he had on Dynamite against Roosh was pretty good. It was very hard hitting, it was very physical, and it was a great match to kind of give MJF momentum. If they would have had that match on pay-per-view, they probably would have kicked it up a notch.
Hmm.
So again, it's just like
What could have
but
been?
yeah, what could if it was on pay-per-view again, I don't know the nuances of this beef between CMLL and AAA. I just know it's
I actually know, funny enough, because
oh nice.
I looked it up myself. I did research.
Oh nice.
So apparently, if I remember correctly, CMLL was, I believe, the first company out of the two of them,
Right.
and they were very old school, very the elders have paid their dues, so they can essentially like they got the top spots. Everybody else can kind of kick rocks, play the mid card, whatever. So somebody from CMLL was like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm leaving. So he left, took all the young people with him, and formed AAA. And CMLL saw that as like the ultimate betrayal, the ultimate like backstab. Essentially, it's kind of like what Rossy Agawa's doing with Marigold. It seems like in a
Mm,
way, except CMLL took that as like the ultimate betrayal, the ultimate like slap in the face. So they pretty much said that anybody that works with AAA is not. We don't want anything to do with them. That's why Ray Phoenix can't really be involved, and neither can Penta. So they're just being petty, I
is
guess.
It's basically kind of like a tale as old as time in anything to do with entertainment, if you think about it.
Yeah, really. It's the same. It's the same stuff, different names, and yeah, it's they got some beef.
Yeah, I guess they do have some beef. In terms of the match, I don't see MJF losing
No,
his first match back on pay per view.
no.
That just doesn't make sense. And I'm looking at. I know that okay, it's gonna happen. It's basically on Long Island.
Yeah,
And he's
not
so
in
he's
county.
basically he's not gonna lose in his hometown. That's just not gonna happen. That would be and it would have to be an angle where he gets screwed over by somebody that's going to make big waves. If
Yeah,
it's
but even then,
yeah,
like,
if it's not that, then it's probably not worth him losing. Again, no disrespect to Hechicera, I just felt like we could have did better here.
oh, because we could have,
We could have
like, we could have.
we could have did better here, but it is what it is. We both have MJF coming away with the victory. Next up for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, we have the champion Jon Moxley defending the title against the former champion Tetsuya Naito. The only problem I have with this match is like it could have used, and I don't know if maybe this is the plan for Dynamite or Collision, at least one Naito match before the pay-per-view, and maybe a video package similar to Shingo Takagi where like they can sort of, it's not a reintroduction because Naito has been on plenty of AEW shows, but a reminder of who he is and that he is a dangerous threat to
Yeah,
Jon Moxley. Again, it just feels like these matches are kind of just thrown together,
yeah,
which is a big thing, a big source of, I guess, debate between wrestling fans about storytelling, storylines, creative, and the lack thereof in AEW, and how some fans like to say, well, we don't need the storylines or anything like that. We just like the wrestling, which is fine. I'm not, judging anybody on the way they like to consume whatever makes them happy. But I do feel like there's certain instances where we could use some creativity here. We could use some drama here, not just saying, oh, it's for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, but just something a little bit more.
yeah. It's just, and it also kind of just feels like the Forbidden Door side of the pay per views kind of getting screwed over a little bit here. Like,
Mm.
there's not many where I can actually see them winning. Because, I mean, let's think about it. Every match we've had so far that we've predicted, we haven't picked the non AEW person to win, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah, and
it's fun, but no.
I don't see that situation changing here. I think Moxley is going to come away and retain the championship. I am a Naito fan, so I am kind of invested in this match. Again, I just wish we could see a little bit more Naito and have some sort of interaction between him and Moxley, a face off in the ring,
Yeah,
something, a pull apart brawl, you know,
anything.
yeah, something. Give us some sort of drama to say, hell yeah, I want to see these two dudes fight. But it is what it is. Again,
It's almost as if there's a pay per view on Sunday.
yeah, I mean, and this thing is costing $50. You know,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like
It's
I'm not trying to be negative towards AEW, but
however,
like
they're making it hard.
they're making it very hard where it's just like our mission statement is fuck the entertainment part of it and let's just
Yeah.
throw matches together. Again, if that's how you like your wrestling, cool, that's dope. I'm not saying you're wrong or it's a bad way, you're a bad wrestling fan, nothing like that. It's subjective. But I mean, you got to admit, if this had just a little bit of drama behind it, a little
Mhm.
bit of seasoning, this could have gone a lot better for the entire card.
Literally, and yet we're just like, it's a thing that's
Mm,
happening.
yeah, and for example, the next match, because I'm pretty certain we both have Jon Moxley retaining the
Oh, yeah.
championship,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. Yeah.
All right. So for the next match, we have Zack Sabre Jr., fantastic technical wrestler, probably the best technical wrestler on the planet right now, against another fantastic wrestler in Orange Cassidy. It's a regular singles match, and that's about it.
Just because.
Just because.
It's tough because you can see either one of them winning, though. Like,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if either of them win. This probably could be a situation where someone from New Japan actually takes the W over someone from AEW.
maybe through nefarious means, because maybe Trent and Stat get involved again to further just smash my heart into pieces. Because Stat's killing me, but still got to root for her. But yeah, maybe they could push his buttons some more to see what happens. And what better place to do that than on a supposed pay per view that is a very big pay per view. I don't know. I tried. Like,
I'm with you on that. I think that's a very that's a smart, again, creative, adding some drama, taking away from taking a W away from Orange Cassidy, because he has built up that sort of reputation where he's if he needs to even eke out a W, he can get the job done. So if Zack Sabre Jr. was coming on AEW territory and beating a stalwart like Orange Cassidy, that's a big statement right there, and that could further along that storyline between Stat, Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy, and all that.
Exactly. We need some drama here. Give us drama.
Some drama. Is something that has a little bit of drama for our next match is Timeless Toni Storm will be defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Mina Shirakawa. Now, between Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, there's been a struggle, a power struggle for the love and admiration of one Mariah May. It's been a little bit of intrigue, romance. It has the drama we talk about.
Suspense.
And yeah, a little bit of suspense, a little bit of comedy,
Yeah.
comedy. It has it all. And it's exactly what you would expect from anything involving Timeless Toni Storm. And Mina Shirakawa has gotten a great reaction from the fans in North America. So that's really wholesome to see.
Thank God, because I was worried that they were just going to be like, okay, she's somebody from Stardom, like woohoo. But it's like, no, she's good. She's funny for one.
Mm-hmm.
She can go in the ring, and her promo during the contract signing was pretty good. I mean, I wish they would have given him a little more time, but she got her point across. The crowd was into it. Because the crowd could have easily just shit on it because it's like, oh, she doesn't talk with a full American accent. What the fuck's up with that? But no, they gave her the respect and the attention, and again, the drama, the the tension, the romance. I mean, I bet Mariah just feels like the belle of the fucking ball at this point because. Why can't that be us? Why can't that be us fighting for Mariah anyway? But anyway, we don't have time for that. It's got to be Toni. Mina's cool, but Toni can't lose yet.
Yeah. I think she's on a generational run.
The tougher thing though is who gets Mariah. That's the question. That's the tougher decision than the actual match.
A lot of sort of pseudo custody battles in wrestling for people these days on both sides of the wrestling world. So,
and why aren't they putting her as the special guest referee?
That would
make so much sense.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
You want drama? There's drama. Because, like, you could have Mina try and cheat, and Mariah's like, I can't do that. And she's like, well, we're friends. What the hell are you doing? And vice versa. Toni tries to do something stupid. Mariah's like, you can't do that. And it's just like, guys, come on. It was right in front of your face. It was right there.
Yeah.
And you can't even give us that.
Wow, that would have been very interesting. Yeah, it definitely could have added a little seasoning, a little spice to the match. But it's definitely one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most.
That's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, honestly.
Yeah, it should be fun. Next up, we have Mercedes Moné. She is the AEW TBS champion, taking on Stephanie Vancure, who is the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. And this match is a winner takes all match. That means whoever wins is walking out with 2 belts instead of 1. Uh,
Gee, do we even have to spend more than 3 seconds going on get what's is Mercedes is winning, like, anybody
uh,
who thinks she's gonna lose is insane, like
it sucks because I think Stephanie's fantastic.
yeah,
She has an aesthetic where she
mhm,
just looks like a complete badass, you
yeah,
know. But
it's a
again,
shame.
yeah, but again, like having her just walk out on the ramp and stare down Mercedes. I mean, they did a great deal where they had Mercedes go to Arena Mexico and confront her there,
Yeah,
which is a bit that they could use on TV. But again, in this situation, they could have gotten a little further if they would have put Stephanie in a match. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be
no,
it's a throwaway, somebody, an enhancement talent. You bring in a local talent and just have her do a 3-minute fucking squasher. Bam. Just
yeah.
just something to give us a little taste besides what we see on video against possibly someone she has a little bit more chemistry with. Where
Literally, like, it's just I don't get it. It's just almost like they just expect us to know who all these people are when in reality a good portion of possibly AEW fans don't know who these people are,
right.
aren't familiar with their work, so it's just like, okay, well I guess they're a big deal because they're going against insert wrestler here from AEW, but it's just like how are we supposed to care when you guys don't even really care? It's like, ah, we'll just throw together a video package. That'll get the point across.
Right. And it's not like what we said before, because remember, we had that whole episode about, Google is at your disposal and
Yeah.
YouTube is at your disposal. It's not that situation. It's sort of a situation where it's like, meet us in the middle, where we
Yeah.
we have to do our due diligence as a fan before we could say, why should we care? Let's put a little bit of effort to kind of broaden and expand our horizons when it comes to wrestling, but also do your part as a company to actually hype up the match.
It's not the fans' responsibility to get excited over your pay-per-view.
That's a very good point. That's a very good way to see it. And like you said, unfortunately, this just kind of feels one-sided.
Mhm.
One-sided where if it's somebody that just watches AEW that's forking out the $50 for the AEW pay-per-view, they're still gonna pick Mercedes Monet for this match.
Yeah, exactly. They're all just getting undercut because it's like, yeah, you have to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
You gotta, as the company, you gotta give the fans a reason to care about your pay-per-view and not expect them, well, you know what Google is, you can check it out. It's like, that's
Right.
not their job.
Right. And this is the thing is like instead of a video package, if she would have had that 2 to 3 minute squash match, somebody could have looked at it as a fan and said, wait a minute, maybe she is a threat to Mercedes.
Yeah.
Maybe she is a problem when it comes to this match and it being winner takes all. But we didn't get that. We don't get that vibe.
No, and now we just assume that Mercedes is gonna steamroller because they haven't given us a reason to think otherwise.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So we both got Mercedes Monet in this one. Next up is a ladder match for the vacant AEW TNT Championship. It is Konosuke Takeshita taking on Mark Briscoe, taking on Jack Perry, Dante Martin, Leo Rush, and someone else to be determined. I believe probably on Dynamite or Collision is going to determine the last one. I mean, it's a ladder match. You got a bunch of crazy people like Dante Martin and Leo Rush. Konosuke Takeshita is probably going to fling people around. Mark Briscoe's a madman.
Yeah.
Jack Perry got lit on fire last pay per view. I mean, so
Yeah.
this is a lot. I mean, if we're predicting who could be the to be determined, maybe I don't know, Darby Allen. I haven't heard anything of
In the
the
perfect world, it could be Malachi. Like,
Mal-
that should have been it, but
Malachi would have been cool, or Brody, or
somebody.
something like that. It is making me nervous that this is a ladder match and Dante Martin is involved because remember last time,
Ugh, I don't wanna mm-mm, no.
yeah, so exactly. That's my vibe. So I'm getting a little
Ugh.
scared. If I had to pick a winner out of so far who's announced, I gotta go with Takeshita, man. He's
Oh, me too. I was gonna pick
yeah,
him too, yeah.
yeah. Takeshi's just cool, man. Like he's just, I mean, an obvious choice could be Jack Perry too.
It better not be. I'm sorry. Like, we talked about it last week. If they put that belt on him immediately after they were gonna just put it on him just because, this is gonna be the biggest waste of time.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So, and I really like. I mean, I really like Konosuke Takeshita. If I was creating a wrestling promotion and he was available, I would definitely build my promotion around him. And
I agree.
this could be a jumping off point. We could have after this a little Elite versus Don Callis family situation that would be quite interesting. Kind of, it doesn't necessarily always have to be good guy versus bad guy.
Yeah.
They wanted Jack Perry to win. He was the planned winner. Like you said, they were just going to give him the belt. And here comes Konosuke Takeshita to spoil all that. So I think that would work well if they were to need something to bridge off of what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. It's just please just don't go for the obvious. I mean, it's not even really an obvious choice. It's just waste of time choice.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. Waste of time choice. That's what it is. Because what the hell would have even been the point of all of this in general? It almost would have. I'll just say it now. If Jack Perry ends up winning it, this whole ladder match was just TV filler.
Ooh.
That's all it was.
Interesting.
Because think about it. If they would have just given Jack Perry the title and not had to worry about this ladder match, how many matches were there? Like 5, 6?
Yeah.
I don't remember how many. Either way, those don't exist on TV.
Yeah.
You just needed something for TV because your ratings are doing so hot right now. But it's just like, don't go the easy way. Like it, please. I'm begging you.
I agree. I agree. The only thing we could pick is from the heart, and Takeshita probably has that on lock, as we said. And a kind of obvious one is again what we both really don't want to see is Jack Perry getting the win. Man, in terms of who would I put my money on between the two of those, do I go with the obvious or what I want?
I mean,
Uh,
we want to catch the like.
yeah, but
It just make it would make sense though. Like,
it would just be, I feel like he's primed and ready to have something, some sort of value in terms of gold, and it'll
yeah,
it'll help the Don Callis family look strong as a unit to have some sort of gold within their grasp. But again, it feels like our heart wants to catch the way things are going, it looks like Jack Perry might get
I hope not. I
it.
don't want to have to scream about this next week.
And then the main event is Swerve Strickland defending the AEW World Championship against Will Ospreay, who is the AEW International Champion, but this is only for the World Championship. This match has that drama we look for. It has that little bit of, okay, I definitely want to see these guys fight now. And that had to do with the promo on Dynamite that they had, the exchange they had where Swerve Strickland, he wasn't afraid to go there, basically.
No.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to go there, mentioning Osprey's son and his wife. This is stuff we talked about on our episode that dropped Friday. But this is the type of drama and creativity and real life stuff that fans can identify with that makes us want to pay for this pay-per-view and watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Even though we will still continue to say this should not be happening Sunday.
Yeah.
It should not be happening for another couple months, but we're getting it whether we like it or not. I feel like I'm just gonna go with what I said last week. I feel like Don Callis is gonna be insulted that Osprey's like, I don't need the Don Callis family, I don't need their help, and he's gonna screw him over. So Swerve can keep the title because you can't. That's the worst part about this. This is why we said it's too early. You can't have Swerve lose after literally 2 months, and you can't have Osprey lose after literally just winning the title of like the international title of Double or Nothing. Like,
Right.
so you kind of just, as usual, booked yourselves into a corner just for the sake of, oh, well, these are two really good wrestlers. This is a dream match for a lot of people. We just need to see it happen with no thought process into what happens after.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Swerve because Callis and the family screw over Osprey.
Yeah, I think that's a wise way to go. And again, it's all about some sort of, how do we do something that at the end of the pay-per-view people are like, ah man, we got to tune into Dynamite, it's going to be a crazy one, and in this case, it's how is Don Callis going to answer for screwing over Will Ospreay, and who's Will Ospreay going to target? I mean, one of
Yeah.
his best friends is still Don Callis family affiliated in Kyle Fletcher, and that could be a little bit of a dramatic, because last time it was just like a friendly sort of competition match between Ospreay and Fletcher. Now this has a little bit of that drama behind it.
Yeah.
But again, this is all spitballing for stuff to happen after the pay-per-view. So again, that's another problem. I mean, this is you're asking us to spend $50. You're asking me to have to DVR House of the Dragon over
That's fair.
I have to watch this over House of the Dragon. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
You have to make mom go into work late Monday because she
yeah,
has to stay here and watch it because she can't watch it anywhere else.
yeah,
Like,
it's just like that. There's a lot riding on the line here, Tony Khan, and it's like,
for all three of us.
yeah, it's like you're making a sacrifice much more than just the $50 steep price already.
Time.
Yeah, it's time, it's enjoyment. But again, this should be a good match, and this should be at least a fun watch. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
such thing as a bad Will Ospreay match.
No, unless he's completely missing everything left and right, which does not happen.
Yeah, no.
We know this is going to be a great match.
Yeah, but again, like you said, I don't see Swerve Strickland losing the title so suddenly. So again, there are our predictions for Forbidden Door that is happening this Sunday on pay-per-view. There's a bunch of other places you can order it if you can't get it on pay-per-view. I mean, I'm not Excalibur here. He's got them all run down. So make sure you
Yeah.
watch Dynamite on Wednesday, and he can definitely run that down for you. But again, it is what it is. It's AEW. Hopefully they can have a banger pay-per-view that gets people talking.
Yeah, let's hope so, because the build up to it has been
Yeah, so with that said, why don't we fly through these questions and get back to what we usually do, which is answering what the people want to talk about.
Yes, we'll not do like let's not say speed round, but
No.
we'll do our best. We'll see
Yeah,
what happens.
I'm gonna avoid trying to go on Crazy Ranch. I just hope like there's nothing Jericho involved.
Luckily I don't think there is, and I don't see anything about Dakota and Shayna, so we might be safe.
All right.
But anyway, so we're just gonna, for the sake of technology, we're just gonna go in order. So we're gonna start with Jack's questions, and starting off hot with what do we think of the Wyatt Six so far? Jack's not sure how to feel yet, but he's hoping for the best for them. I'm liking it so far.
Mm-hmm.
This creepy shit it's something else. It's intriguing. It makes you want more. That VHS tape on Monday was
Fantastic.
unsettling.
Yeah, it was just fantastic. The one thing that you get worried about, and sort of what we kind of always talk about, that PTSD from the last regime, is can they take something this dark and sort of, I don't want to say supernatural, but not necessarily normal, not of this world.
Yeah, make it more like unique.
Yeah, but not only that, but understand that there's a fine line, because now you're trying to appeal to not only kids and get them like, I don't know if I like this. Some kids, they grow up and this is how this is like their introduction into horror, which they end up loving it. And then you also have to appeal to kind of the adult, because you don't want to insult the intelligence of an adult who's also watching this. So they walk that fine line creatively. That and in the past regime, we talked about it, this would have been campy, this would have been corny. This, what they're doing, what they did on Monday Night Raw, was raw. It was real. There were people that took it as emotional. There were people that were kind of petrified at the whole videotape idea. So
yeah, because people didn't know who or what was in the box.
Yeah. There was a lot of crazy things that were happening. There's a lot of crazy things that happened because of this Wyatt Six group. But man, the way they've kind of integrated Bo Dallas back into the fold and taken it there. They took it there. They upped that level, and they went to that line where we're like, oh, this is real. This is real stuff. And this might be the way, because the one thing we talked about on the last episode is, how do you make this make sense in a wrestling sense? So my interpretation is maybe they're looking at Bo Dallas to be like the human element of the Wyatt Six that would go out there and wrestle matches. And now he has a different style, a different repertoire to his moves and
Yeah.
things like that. So maybe he takes some things from Bray. But again, in terms of the VHS thing that they did last night, it was creepy, it was
Mhm.
fascinating, and it was one of those things where they weren't afraid to do real life stuff. I mean, asking him, "Don't you feel like you're exploiting, your brother's passing?" I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, yeah." It was
yeah.
it was exactly. It was like, "Damn, this is how we're doing this. We're going there."
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're definitely going there. I feel like I wanted to immediately after watching it say like, oh well, this is gonna be like the Doctor Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, where like Bo Dallas is like the Bray Wyatt and then Uncle Howdy's like the Fiend,
Mhm.
but it was also kind of, at least from what I can remember, I'm sure there's something that's gonna prove me wrong somewhere, but I don't think they ever really had the Fiend and Bray Wyatt like physically in the same shot together. That wasn't just like distorted, like, you know what I
Right.
mean? So the fact that they put both of them in one is like, okay, then that just opens up a whole other can of worms and a whole other bunch of questions. But just in general, it's just so far they have been very good at just making you very uneasy and very unsettled,
Mhm.
but you can't not turn away from it.
Exactly. It's one of those things. It's like watching the scary movie. Your hands are covering your eyes, but you have them spaced apart where you can kind of see what's
Yeah.
going on because you still don't want to look away. But it's just like it's just the realness of it, and it's just
Yeah.
the not being afraid to take it there is something that intrigues me. They're doing the little Easter egg stuff with Chad Gable where he pulls up to the arena, he gets out of the car, and in the shot you see the picture of Alexa Bliss
Mhm.
when she was aligned with Bray Wyatt on the
Mhm.
production truck. And
That
these
wasn't that wasn't not on purpose, let's be
yeah,
honest.
these things, Triple H does these things to either get you to ask questions or to throw you off. He did it during WrestleMania, for example, when The Rock
Yep.
was beating down on Cody Rhodes, and you saw Stone Cold on the truck, and then everybody's like, "Well, that just means Stone Cold's going to show up," and then he
Yeah.
doesn't. It's the Undertaker. So sometimes Triple H does stuff to just throw you off, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, no matter what, he's doing it so that you pay attention.
Mhm. Yep.
It turns the show in almost like a mystery sort of aspect. You're not just
Yeah.
watching wrestling, you're also trying to solve a mystery.
Multiple mysteries.
Yeah, multiple indeed, but I enjoy the storyline very much.
I do too. Going off of that, Jack's next question was, should they have kept Chad out of his match after being injured? I'd like to say murdered by the Wyatts. It did seem real quick, didn't it? Where it's like this man looked almost dead on the ground, and then it's like, oh yeah, no guys, he's cleared. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It
but
could have been a couple weeks, but we don't really have that kind of time.
right, right. That's very true as well. Again, I mean, everything sort of has a purpose. So maybe we haven't seen the full fallout of why this happened this way. It was kind of weird because we all just kind of assumed, well, that looks like a gunshot wound to the head. Chad Gable's
Yeah.
dead, and it's like I guess Triple H was like, whoa, maybe we should pump the brakes a little bit there. Maybe that was a little bit too much because now people think he's dead. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it was one of those things. But again, it spooked Chad Gable enough to that he wants to reconcile with Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine. But now here
Hmm.
come the Creeds that are like they kind of are wanting to check up on him. So it's like, what's gonna happen now? So it's like everything leads into something.
Yeah. Everything's interconnected in some
Yeah.
way, and this is what I like about this stuff. It's fun to
Yeah.
piece it together. So we obviously know Liv versus Rhea is coming, thank God. But couldn't we give Zelina some momentum before challenging for the title? I think unfortunately it kind of goes back to what I said about Gable in the ladder matches. there's not really a lot of time.
Right.
I wish they would have put it on the pay-per-view. I don't see why they couldn't have, to be honest.
Mhm.
Because what the hell else is Liv gonna do except just antagonize the entirety of the Judgment Day? But so they could have put it on on the card. I don't know why they didn't, but I'm glad that they're at least remembering that she's champion and that she actually has to defend that title as
Mhm.
opposed to just being the bane of Damien and Dominic's existence. Um, so that's what I like about it because it's like, okay, you can have your like whatever you want to call it with the Judgment Day, but you also can bring it back into something else where it's like, oh yeah, no, you still got a title around your waist. You're still public enemy number one.
Right.
So I like that they remember that she can do both.
Right. I'm also looking at it from this aspect. The pay-per-views now under Triple H, for the past couple times, it's been the 5 matches. Every match gets a decent amount of time to tell a story in the ring, and that a long match probably would be a detriment to Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega. You know,
Yeah,
I've
might not give them enough time.
it might not give them enough time, but then you run the risk of giving them too much time too. You know,
Yeah,
you don't know if they have that sort of gas tank where they can go a 25-minute sort of deal. But
yeah,
this is a good opportunity as the go home Raw to Money in the Bank. You know, this is a good opportunity to get some eyes, and then maybe if they put this in the main event of Raw,
yeah,
I think it would be good too. Because I think Zelina Vega, that would be a great boost for her to main event Raw against the women's world champion for the title. And again, going towards the pay per view, that a lot of people are tuned in. I mean, I'm not a ratings guy, but the numbers for Monday Night Raw looked really, really good. Like they picked up a lot of people.
yeah.
So
Well, I just actually had a bit of a thought. So I don't think we really have a full-on question about this, so we'll just talk about it now. So what happened at the end of Raw?
mm,
You kind of could see coming from a mile away, where it's like Liv kind of screwed our Truth and the Miz over to get the titles back on Judgment Day.
right.
Who's not to say that now JD and Finn next week are going to return the favor and cause Zelina the match?
Mm. There,
And then Damien's going to be like, what the hell are you doing? We're supposed to get away from her. And they're like, well, I mean, she helped us. I mean, the least we could do is help her because they didn't seem too upset that she was with them at the end of the show.
there you go. This is playing that sort of detective work to be like there's layers to stuff going on here. You gotta
So
sort
much
of
stuff.
yeah, it's like there's 4 pieces. They're all even and they all connect to each other. And you think with 4 pieces, it's an easy puzzle to solve, but
No,
it's not. It's not. It's just
no.
like shit just doesn't line up the way you think it does. It's crazy,
Yeah.
especially this story in particular with Liv, Dom, the rest of the Judgment Day, the situation now. Liv is buying not only Dom stuff, but she's buying all of Judgment Day stuff. Like you said, she's interfering in their matches, getting them titles now. What if she's able to convince Damien and be like, "Hey, look,
Oh.
what I did for Finn and JD, I can also do for you when you have to take on Seth Rollins."
And then she screws him over. Oh God, don't I don't no, no, no. I don't even
Well,
want to say that.
no,
I don't want to say that. No.
no. What if she doesn't screw him over? She helps him, right? She helps him. And okay,
Mhm.
no, this is me going crazy because this would
Okay.
okay. Let me preface this.
Let me preface this by saying this may or may not put you on mom's shit list, so be very careful with
No,
what you're gonna say.
no. This will work out good for. But let me just
Okay.
preference this that I'm 99.99% sure this will not happen. This is just fantasy booking in my mind that I
Uh-huh.
think is great. She screws over Seth to help Damien keep the title. So
Mhm.
Damien lets his guard down, which in turn puts a little rift between him and Rhea. So it's not only
Yeah.
Dominic and Rhea that have the rift now, it's also Rhea and Damien. Not only that, but she helps um Damian win by screwing over Seth Rollins, who is the person that took the title off,
Mm,
to get
Becky.
Becky. So then Becky comes back into the fold. That's an easy in for her to go after Liv, because not only did she screw over her husband to take away his title, and then let's not get into the caveats just yet, because we have caveats about the match itself. But again,
I have thoughts.
yes, but again, I'm 1,000,000% sure that'll never happen. This is just how my fantasy brain works, where it's just like, let's just have chaos and go crazy. And now Becky Lynch is cutting her vacation short.
See, that's all very good. I agree. That would be really cool. My problem is with these caveats that we mentioned, because I don't know why we jumped so soon to the okay, well, if I can't win, I'm never challenging for this title again. I'm like, why are we doing this already? This is very rushed. However, I thought, and maybe this is just me being silly, who knows? I thought it would have made maybe not more sense. It just would have been more dramatic if they flipped the caveats a little bit, or at least just ignore the whole "oh, never can challenge for the title again." What the fuck ever. That like whatever. Wouldn't it have been more dramatic and more like, oh shit, is if Damien retained the title, he had to leave Judgment Day? Because how else? Because that was Seth's biggest thing is, well, then you need to learn how to walk a mile in my shoes, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't it be more stressful and more pressure on Damien if he had to walk in the shoes of a title holder alone?
I think for me, the drama would lie in, do you sacrifice your group for your title?
Yeah.
Like, there's that power struggle. What do you do? Like, do you sacrifice your group for your title? Like, we all know your sentiment is now, I don't need them, they need me.
Yeah, and I'm like, Damien, why are you talking? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you put that out there. You put that out there, that you yourself thought, they need me, I don't need them. So it's just like, well,
I'm like, this isn't gonna end well.
yeah.
Like, Damien, like,
So again, to your theory, I think for me, that there's that drama. Do I choose my group, who I'm now the leader of, that I've brought this prestige to? Do I sacrifice them to hold on to my title? Because then if I hold on to my title, I am completely alone. You know,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. That's why I wish they would have made it a little more dramatic if he would have had to leave the Judgment Day if he would have kept the title.
yeah.
Like, it would have been so much more dramatic, but that's just me, whatever. At this rate, I'm just gonna say this. At this rate, I just hope Damien's champion by the time SummerSlam comes around, because I'm not gonna hear the end of this if that's not the case. Like, I bought Mama Damien shirt just for this very reason, so she can have something to wear to the show. I hope this is not a curse. This
Oh
better not be a
no!
curse,
Oh
but
no! You never wear the band's merchandise to the concert.
then you also have to like worry about the money in the bank too. Is whoever wins going to cash in that night? Because they do like doing that sometimes. But we'll save
Ooh.
that for later. I don't know if we have another question for that. We'll save that just in case. But yeah, I'm just like, please just get Damien physically into Cleveland Brown Stadium with the title. Whatever happens, happens after that. He just needs to physically be in there with the title. That's all I ask.
Fingers
Um,
crossed.
God, I fucking hope so. Anyway, so Jack's next question's now over to AEW. Remember when we thought Danielson's promo telegraphed the winner? Jeff Jarrett speaking about Owen Hart was powerful, and now I kind of want him to win it. Yeah, it was pretty compelling. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was really, really, really well done, to the point where I'm like, shit. I guess I want Jeff Jarrett to win this thing.
I guess.
Like it's but they could also do that thing where, like, they build that up, and then Jeff Jarrett just doesn't get the job done.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about like, we rag on Jericho for what Jericho does, but Jeff Jarrett does the opposite.
Yes.
He could do what Jericho is doing right now in terms of having that ego to think you have that push, but he really doesn't. He's aligned himself with Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. They kind of have their thing. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. He's not politicking his way for title matches or main event
Mhm.
spots or anything like that. So, Like, that's kind of cool to see, you know, and that's how I feel these veterans, if they're going to go to AEW, sans if you're like Christian Cage or Adam Copeland, they're on an upper echelon elite level where they don't, that's not possible to put them in that position. But guys like Jericho, guys like Jeff Jarrett, that's a good position for them to be in. It's just one sees the value in that and the other doesn't because of their ego.
Yeah, exactly. It's again just the drama.
The drama.
Just the drama of it all.
Yeah, that's all it is just the drama.
We we live for the drama.
Yeah, but
Not really though,
but yeah, but now you have that struggle where it's, you know, Danielson, you know, using the fact that he's on the last leg of his career. Then you're like, shit, I want Danielson to win. Then you're like, well, you know, Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett, they were like best friends, you know, and then
yeah.
Jeff Jarrett has that vignette and you're like, shit, I want Jarrett to win. So at the end of the day, the good thing is there is some intrigue to the tournament, something to get you invested in. The bad part is like you're gonna have your heartstrings torn one way or the other.
Yeah, because I'm double checking the brackets here. Okay, well, the only way those two can meet was if they were actually in the finals, so...
Oh, but again, that's an interesting final.
Well, but it also depends on who's the wild card that Jarrett has to face, though.
Ooh.
Because we still don't know about that either. But I still want Jay to win, though. I still want Jay White to win, but... Yeah, whatever.
But again, this could have been much, much better if they would have spaced this out for at least a month and a half, and added a couple matches, a couple more people instead of 8 people, double it at least. Make it a point system tournament, not just single elimination. Really
give us more people.
Yeah, just build up some intrigue, some drama.
Still can't beat the allegations of they really don't give a shit about this tournament, but... Anyway, before we start a whole fight in the comments, this is just a comment from Jack. He thinks Swerve should hit Will with the Tiger Driver and show him who the real killer is.
Ooh.
And Swerve would absolutely do that too.
Oh yeah. That's the one thing I noted, is that in this feud right now, Swerve is willing to do absolutely anything to gain a mental advantage over Will Ospreay, and that's where the drama is that he literally is willing to do anything, whether it's mentioning his wife, mentioning his stepson, mentioning whoever he has to mention by name in order to gain a mental advantage. I mean, this is a man that's broken into another man's house to deliver a t-shirt to a newborn personally. This man is normal stuff. He's not above doing stuff like that at all. And really, honestly, using the Tiger Driver, it will be for nice dramatic effect, but in terms of on the scale of, is that how low Swerve Strickland can go? I don't think so. That's kind of middle of the bar there.
Hey, if it does happen, Jack, I will message you during Forbidden Door. I will be like, there you go, you did it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start wondering if you're like a psyop working for AEW or something.
He might be, or he's just as good as us. What can we say? And finally, Joe Hook and Shibata should join Swerve in Blood and Guts. Ooh, that would be fun.
Oh man,
that would be insane.
Yeah, that would.
Can you imagine?
Because you have 3 certified killers and a man who's willing to be a killer, if that's what it means to get the job done. Yeah, man, why not give Jack the pencil?
Yeah, why not? Like, this is fun.
Yeah, right?
I would agree. I would like to see that happen, actually.
Yeah, Jack gets the pencil this week for being the most creative Ringside Rundown listener of the week. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Started a new segment right off the bat.
The silver pencil.
Yeah, there you go.
Silver pencil. There we go. All right, so that was all of Jack's questions. So thank you as always. Okay, I love how Twitter doesn't like to cooperate, and I have to dodge Acolyte spoilers left and right. you know. Hopefully that's what I'll be doing after this if I have time. Okay, so I don't know why that switched the orders. I guess we're gonna go with Mom's next. She just said, why Damien? Why? I don't understand the reason for the stipulation. I mean, we get the stipulation. I still feel like the whole oh yeah, I'll never challenge for this title again was a little like thrown in there. It just seemed kind of weird to me, but that's just me, I guess. But I still think they should have flipped it. And if Damian won the title, then he or retained the title, then he had to leave Judgment Day. Like that would have been more like, oh shit.
Yeah, again, yeah, that's an interesting. Again, I can tell the initial reaction would be like, "What the fuck?" But then again, if you think about it, it's the idea that he would have to choose between Judgment Day or his title.
Yeah, and
So
he's already you already know at this rate he would pick the title because he's like, I don't need them, they need me.
exactly. So
Um,
that is an interesting sort of, again, but you would have to really put your thinking cap on to
yeah,
do it. And we know
can't do that.
wrestling fans these days, it's kind of tough to get them to think.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I know she's going through a tough time right now.
yeah,
What
yeah,
can we what can we say? Mom's suffering right now. Poor Damien.
she's in that category where she's scared that her favorite is going to lose, which is
Yeah.
understandable, but eventually it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen at Money in the Bank, but I do think it's gonna happen at SummerSlam. I think
Yeah.
the way Gunther came out on Monday and what he said and the way he said it,
Oh
you're just
yeah.
like, this dude's champion. Like
He's done. Yeah.
it's a foregone conclusion,
Yeah.
predetermined destiny that by the end of 2024, Gunther will be world heavyweight champion.
Yeah. I think she's accepted that it is most likely gonna happen at SummerSlam in person, which I think is even worse, but she just wants it to make it to that point. And
Yeah,
I feel like it will, but
yeah.
this is what we like though. WWE's keeping you on your toes.
Oh, for sure.
Like I know the feeling of seeing my favorites suffer. Like it was it was so funny. Like quick little sidebar. My one friend and I were talking about it. This weekend I saw him at a show we were at and we were kind of talking about wrestling and whatever. And he loves Liv Morgan. I'm like, whatever. I'm sure you're just loving it right now, aren't you? Whatever. And he's just like, yeah, but then it kind of like humbled me after Bianca and Jade lost because those are two of his other favorites. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I know. And he's like, yeah, and your girl had to take the pin. I'm like, yes, because of course she always has to take the pin. I know, I'm aware. I whatever. Thank God she didn't on Monday, but I also didn't expect her to win either. But he said it best. He's like, it's almost like as if you're a women's wrestling fan, if you're not a fan of Liv, Rhea, Becky, Bianca, Jade, I think he may have said one more, but I don't entirely remember. He's like, you pretty much are gonna have to like be patient. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, don't I know it?
Yeah,
Don't I know it?
it's funny because I mean, I do the streams on Twitch, twitch.tv/ringside rundown, by the way. But Jeff Merchant, he's always in the
Yep.
chat, and he always seems to pop up when like Kyrie or
Yeah.
Io
Yeah.
are gonna they lose. He always
Yeah.
pops up and he's just always pissed off. And I'm like, man, I feel it.
Yeah.
I'm getting comments on our TikTok now that are like, why is Kyrie losing all the time? So it's like a lot of people are falling into the thing where it's like they don't like to see their favorites lose, which I completely understand. But like, there's really no
I'm
way.
used to it.
Yeah, but there's really no way to remedy that situation
Yeah, you
because
just kind of have to like wait for it at some
yeah,
point.
yeah, you got to wait and see if they're going to get their shine because I mean, that's the way that somebody's got to lose. And if your favorite wins, the person who loses is someone who's a favorite, they're going to bitch about that. So it's like nobody's
Someone suffering.
yeah, nobody's going to win in this situation. Someone's always going to be suffering.
All
So
I'm gonna say is if Dakota does not win this fucking Money in the Bank qualifier match on Monday, I'm gonna scream. You're gonna
mm.
hear it. I'm gonna scream about it on the show.
and
Like
who is she up against?
Zoe and Ivy, so she has a chance.
Zoe and yeah. She should have this because Damage Control as a unit came out looking strong by the time they were
Yeah.
done on Raw.
But then poor Kyrie though. She'll be the only one out of Damage Control not in the ladder match. Like that's so mean, but
it's a thing where it's like again, like you just said, you got to be patient.
all I'm gonna say is Coda in the bank. Can Coda in the bank?
You had me nervous because I glanced at that tweet without even like processing it, and I was like, "What do you mean Kota Ibushi's in the Money in
No,
the Bank.
no.
I'm like, Shay, do you know something
I'm
that
losing
I
it.
know? Yeah, like, do you have like,
I got the inside
yeah, I
stuff.
was like, do you have some scoop that I don't know about? Because like, what's
No.
going on here?
I should have said King Coda in the bank, but it's fine. The point still stands. Give her
Oh
the
man.
goddamn. Anyway, we're not all right. So no more rants. No more rants. We're gonna just keep going. So mom loved, of course, Zelina's red bottom boots. She thought they were very cool. Zelina's a very cool style, I
Yeah,
must say.
she
I
has
could never pull it off, but she can.
she has a very extensive style.
Yes,
You'll,
all
you'll
that.
you'll never see her wear the same thing twice.
No, and then some of the stuff she wears, I'm just like, that's a lot of money. That must be
Yeah,
a lot of money. Like,
yeah.
god damn. But hey, you know what? If it works for her, it works for her, and more power to you. I probably people would say the same thing about me and my like hockey jerseys or just jerseys in general, where it's like that must have been a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, I spent the money on them. I have them for a reason, but
Yeah.
anyway, obviously this is so obvious that it's gonna hurt. The Will Swerve match is gonna be a banger, of course.
Mhm.
Like, there's no even like, I'll be genuinely shocked if it isn't. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
I feel like mom always asks this question because I feel like one of these times it's gonna be actually right. Who unexpectedly shows up at Forbidden Door, and who's gonna have the best match in your honest opinion? I mean, come on, Will and
Mhm.
Swerve. It's gonna have
Yeah.
the best match. Who unexpectedly? I don't know. I'm just gonna keep saying Britt and Jamie until one of them show up because I don't know what else to pick at this point. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
I'm
think
just go ahead.
no, I think those are solid picks. Like if you're like
Yeah,
it's
we
like
say it all the time though. Like,
yeah, but I mean if you're like playing the lottery and like you had to just pick, I think those two
eventually.
picks would be solid. Like, yeah, I can see that happening. It's just who
Here's my thing though. At this rate, my boss and I talk about it. The one who I'm all elite now, thanks to him. So thanks to my boss. At this rate, we're just fully expecting Britt to come back in Pittsburgh
mm,
because at some time soon, hopefully within the next, I don't know, 5, 6 months, they're going to be back in Pittsburgh because they haven't been back here since last November. So inevitably within the next few months, they have to come back. So I think that we think that they're like holding her off to like get her the big hometown reaction. Not that she wouldn't have a big reaction anywhere else, but it would be fun if the stars would align and she would come back home, essentially. But
yeah.
if you had to pick between one or the other, I feel like Jamie would make more sense at Forbidden Door, but that's just me, I guess.
Because we do need something in the sense that the current angle for Tony Storm with Mina Shirakawa is very hot, but it's one of
Yeah.
those angles where you can only do it this one time. You don't really see any legs to it to do a sequel like right after. There's no reason to extend the feud. So
No.
therefore, Timeless Tony Storm is going to need something, and having a big return like a Britt Baker or a Jamie Hayter to fill in that gap would be very smart. And the same thing actually applies to the other side in Mercedes Monet.
Yeah.
The Stephanie Van Kier stuff, it's a one and done thing. It's not
Mhm.
going to lead into a match on Dynamite or Collision, the next following week, or rematch on another pay-per-view. That's not going to happen. So therefore, Mercedes Monet, she's going to come out with the victory at Forbidden Door. She's going to have 2 belts, but now what do you do with 2 belts? Um and
Eh.
and and having a return like if we can get a Britt Baker, Mercedes Monet,
Oh.
you know, both titles on the line, that's automatic eyes for AEW. New
Hmm.
Japan's gonna look at that and see like, oh, okay, we didn't expect this, but this is getting eyes on their product, so it's working. It works for
Exactly.
everybody involved.
We need eyeballs.
Yeah.
Like, we need all the eyeballs we can get. But yeah, I feel like between the two of them, I would prefer it to be Jamie, mainly because I just want the whole hometown thing to happen for Brit, but we'll see if that actually happens.
Cool.
And then mom's last somewhere. I don't know why it keeps doing this. Our Truth is Gold, too funny. Yeah, he's funny. Too bad it just cost them the titles, but
Yeah, yeah.
poor,
Funny is messing up their money.
yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it had to happen, I guess, at some point, but
Yeah, and honestly, this was a very creative way to make it happen.
Yeah.
If
Oh yeah.
we're looking at anything, because like in my eyes, they should have lost the titles to AOP, and they did it.
Yeah.
And when they beat AOP, is like, yo, that didn't make any sense. If they were to somehow come away with the victory against Finn and JD, as hot as Judgment Day is now, where Miz and R-Truth are really not doing anything substantial with these belts, I would have been like, okay, Triple H, this is like your one where you kind of goofed, but like,
Yeah, you done goofed on that one.
and this is what I said on stream too. Triple H has this brilliant thing that he does where he takes minute, small pieces that have no significant bearing to what's going on, like Braun Strowman and the Awesome Truth. In the grand scheme of things, they have nothing to go against what's going on between Judgment Day and Liv Morgan, but Triple H uses them almost like pawns to like weave in a couple different stories in one. It's like Braun Strowman is trying to get his hands on JD. Then you got this little goofy comedy segment between R-Truth and Liv Morgan, which leads to Liv being an absolute Jezebel and costing Awesome Truth the tag titles. It's just creativity on another level. I envision JR freaking out at the end of Raw, calling Liv Morgan a Jezebel harlot, all kinds of mean names. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Alrighty, so that was all of Mom's stuff. So Mom, thank you as always. And let us round everything out with Mike's questions. First off, thoughts on Wendy Chu's new presentation. I honestly don't mind it. Something new. I feel like they realized that the whole like sleepy thing wasn't going to really work in this NXT anymore, so they kind of had to do something.
Yeah.
And you could kind of take it back a little bit to when Dakota was in NXT and she was a little crazy and they teamed up. Maybe some of the craziness wore off. Maybe that's where the craziness went.
Yeah, maybe.
Went to Wendy.
My only concern is like they already have like the spooky gimmick with like Tatum Paxley, so like it's kind of the same realm. It's just like, how are they going to explain why this happened? How did she go from like
asleep?
Yeah, how did she go from like the sleepy girl who's really really nice to like, damn, she looks like she hasn't slept in like 7 days. Like,
go to bed, please.
Yeah, where does the darkness come from?
Yeah, maybe that's her sleep paralysis demon.
Oh, see, now that's using your noggin.
Yeah,
like she got possessed by her sleep paralysis demon.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, see, it's a funny meme, but it could actually happen. You never know.
Whoa, that would be cool. That would be cool. I would love to see them try to pull that off, because
they could kind of do that thing where it's like she acts like this for a little bit, and then like the next week she comes back like nothing ever happened. Oh, hey guys, what's like going on? And everyone's like, what do you mean? You've been an absolute like demonic whatever.
Yeah,
guys, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and then somebody pisses her off, and then out it comes. So
right, like pair her with somebody, one of the goody girls, like that Carly Bright girl or Kalani Jordan, where they're like, you need to get some sleep. So she goes away, she gets to bed, and like it's exactly like you said, she has no recollection of her sleep paralysis demon overtaking her body. And wow, that's actually really smart. And she has the chops for it, because remember when they were doing that thing with Xia Li and Boa, and she was like she was Ian. She was that really creepy thing, whatever that was sitting on the throne, so she could play that dark character.
Oh yeah, that was some cool stuff back then. Not gonna lie,
but that sleep paralysis demon idea is genius.
I feel like who would be our sleep paralysis demons?
Mine would be Eddie Kingston.
Of course, yours. I don't know. I feel like mine would be Rhea Ripley. That's not even like a question. But anyway,
yeah. But see, you would love your sleep paralysis demon. Like, you would invite your sleep paralysis demon to spoon and cuddle.
Come on in, guys.
My sleep paralysis demon would yell at me and tell me to get a pair of Timbs on. We got to go out on the block because some shit's gone down.
And you're like, please no, I just want to sleep.
Exactly.
Oh god. No, if we're actually like talking about like scary sleep paralysis, like right now, it would be right now Nikki Cross in that mask. That would
Oh,
freak me the fuck out.
it's
Ugh.
so good. It's so good.
Ugh.
She's so good. She's so
Yeah.
good. And she's so smart because she just got her degree. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's like, where's she been? She's been out here hitting the books. Like, I got a plan B after this wrestling stuff. Hold on. I'm going to come out and just freak you the fuck out.
Because honestly, she plays crazy and like these evil characters better than anything other than that. Let's be honest. Like that she thrives on the crazy and the dark and twisted. So I'm glad that they put her back in something that actually fits her.
Yeah, yeah,
But
it's perfect.
um yeah, exactly. All right, so not to jump back to a prior episode, but when we were talking about the wasted underutilized talents, Mike had a few. He said Corbin, Tegan Knox, Keith Lee, and Athena, and he knows Athena's being used, but is on Ring of Honor where no one sees it. Yeah, Athena out of all of them, absolutely. Like the fact that she's on a run of a lifetime technically was on the run of a lifetime, and no one really knew about it because nobody watched Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and now she has an injury that's going to keep her out, but she's not relinquishing the title, which is very
Yeah,
very interesting how they're going to make that work.
because wasn't it 6 to 8 months? She said.
Yeah, it's quite a long
Yeah,
time, but it's like you're not gonna have a championship in your women's division. It's not like you have another one at your disposal to elevate. So like
yeah.
if you're a women's wrestler in ROH, it's like why the fuck would I give a shit about if you win or lose if you're not even gonna be in a championship situation? So it's
Mhm.
confusing. But then again, Athena has done something with her career that now that she has to go away to heal up, there's nobody on her level. Like,
Not
okay,
even close.
I made the mistake. There is a secondary title that Billy Starks is holding, and they
Yeah,
could do something with that. But again, I love Billy Starks, but she's not on the level of what Athena was doing. Like, she was
no.
putting a whole division literally on her back. Like,
Yeah.
the minions and training stuff was just phenomenal. Like, how do you incorporate?
You are a
Yeah,
minion.
yeah. I totally forgot about that. Now
You are the minion.
I'm in trouble because somehow that'll get back to her. But
Oh
like,
god, I don't want that.
yeah, but like, how do you get a backstage correspondent to be a part of your angle and make it work?
Literally.
Like,
And it's not dumb.
yeah, it's just it's again, she's gonna if she really is not gonna be on TV because of the angle or whatever, they can't figure out what to do. It's gonna be a sore spot. I'm just confused at the whole not relinquishing
Yeah, because 6 to 8 months is a very, very long time.
very long time.
Honestly, the other ones he picked are also ones I would agree with. Corbin, Tegan Knox, Keith Lee, all of them are very wasted and or underutilized for sure.
Yeah,
Well, I think he's hurt.
but the guys like Apollo Cruz,
Yeah,
underutilized. Who else I can think of? I know there's got to be more guys.
Buffy.
Andrade. I mean, well, no, Andrade's in the Money in the Bank. So I can't.
He has a title already. What do you want?
And,
Like,
and he's the Elon champion.
God. Yeah.
I mean,
Christ.
again, this is a thing. Like, we could be a little bit more grateful that Triple H is in charge because he's the type that he
Yeah.
tries to sprinkle in everybody and give everybody a chance. And
Yeah.
again, this is another situation in wrestling, much like somebody has to lose, there has to be somebody on the lower end of the card to make things work, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's just hate it when it's our favorites.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you never want to see your favorites lose.
No, no, I don't want to. I'm not going there again. All right, so this is more your expertise than mine. When WWE bought WCW, who do we think, or you think, WWE should have pushed heavy that didn't get a push for Mike? They didn't bring in Mike Sanders. I think he had a high ceiling.
That's very interesting because when that went down, I want to say maybe 14, 15. So
Yeah,
like
when was that? Like
that
2000, I
was
think.
2001. That was
I
2001
was
March, I believe.
5.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
you
so
had no idea what the fuck was going on.
no, no, I
No,
did not.
for me, I was a little older, but I never at that time my brain didn't look at wrestling like, oh, who's underutilized, who needs to be
Mhm.
used more, who needs to be pushed. My brain wasn't as advanced as it is now in like a smart mark
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
situation. I was still watching wrestling and having it, consuming it, just whatever was in
Mhm.
front of me. I did want to see guys like uh, to me, once this went down, it was happening. That to me, it was like, oh my god, this means we're gonna get Sting and the Undertaker. We're gonna get we're
Yeah.
gonna get DDP. Here's the problem: we got one of the two,
Yeah.
and they stuck DDP in a stalker angle, and he was
Yeah.
stalking the Undertaker's ex-wife,
Mhm.
and he had a tagline that was like, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And at that moment, I was
Ugh.
like, all right, this shit is dead in the water. That was
Yeah, we're done.
that was probably my first inkling of being excited for something in wrestling and then watching it die a slow death right in front of me.
In real
Like,
time.
yeah, because we didn't get the Sting versus the Undertaker. We didn't get
No.
just regular old DDP. They didn't capitalize on using the luchadors that WCW's expertly use. It took us still a couple of years, like 2-3 years before we got Rey Mysterio.
Mhm.
Um, they to me, it was just like they blundered it for some reason. But again, at that time, me being a teenager, I didn't process things like, oh, this person deserves to be on the upper end of the card. It was just like, this is wrestling, this is how it goes. And
Yeah.
that time, like if I was this age and watching that happen, I would be like, yeah, why is that means we can get AJ Styles in WWE? Because remember, AJ Styles before he went to TNA, NWA, was getting some matches on WCW and WCW Thunder. And so all of those young guys I was really into. I was really into those young guys. For some reason, I was into Vampiro.
Yeah, yeah.
And Vampiro was one of those things where, like, as a teenager, you think it's cool, and then when you grow up, you're like, what the fuck was that all about? So it's like, I really thought they could have did some shit with Vampiro. So that just
Yeah.
popped in my head. That would have been a great answer.
Yeah, it would have been. It's kind of tough when you have 5 years of life experience at the time. So, I
Yeah.
can't really,
Yeah.
unfortunately, provide my commentary on that one, unfortunately. But
Thanks for making me
I,
feel old.
I feel like I do that every episode anyway. So just gotta keep reminding you, I guess.
Yeah.
So apparently there is a lot of discourse about Tatum Paxley being the WWE talent sent over to TNA, but storyline wise, it makes sense. Are we good with her being the choice? If not, who would you have sent? Yes, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's just like, what did they expect? Did they expect Trick Williams to go over there?
Right, yeah, like I'm like, that's the exact same sentiment I had after the day after it happened, and everybody's making a big stink about it. I'm like, you do realize that Battleground, Tatum Paxley was the one that came out and did the whole deal with the championship that led to the
Yeah.
finish of the actual match. Like,
Yep.
she was involved in the actual finish of the match. Why would it be somebody else?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense. Like they're trying to go along with the storyline, so we should be giving them credit instead of doing something off the wall. So I have no problem with it being Peter Paxley.
No.
If they had to send somebody over and it's not, a consequence to a storyline, maybe like throw in a Natty. Send Natty over. That'll get a big
Yeah.
buzz. People would go crazy. Or
Yeah.
you wanna throw people into an absolute tizzy? Send Bailey.
Yeah. Oh God, could you imagine TNA? That place would implode in a good way.
Send Bailey.
But
Or make a tag team. Form a tag team where it's like Jordan Grace, Masha Slamovich, open challenge, and then Bailey comes out with Naomi, who was just there.
oh,
You know,
oh, damn.
the wrestling world, the subscription so that people can see this match in at least 1080p would go through the roof.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they
Mm-mm-mm.
would. God, that would be
That
insane.
would be insane. It would light the wrestling world on fire. It would be more historic than Jordan Grace and Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, and that ooh, that's saying
And
something.
not only that, it would
Ooh.
quell the whole this is a one-sided sort of collaboration.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just like, guys, it has to actually make sense. Because then they would be the same exact ones that if they would have sent someone over there that made no sense, they would have been like, well, why'd they go over there? It should have been this person because the storyline is like, they're never happy.
Yeah.
We've been through this 5,000 times. They're never happy.
Never
They,
happy.
what, who, God, people. The Brooks Jensen stuff. Seems like they're really blending reality with storyline. Does it have our curiosity?
Mm.
I'm gonna be totally honest. Not really.
Not really.
No, not really. It's not
No.
enough for me to care enough.
Like,
I just don't.
yeah, like I know what they're trying to do. I feel like they're dragging it just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh
He's
yeah.
got to do something crazy. He's got to do something crazy, like physically attack Vic Joseph, and that has Booker T take off the headset and defend Vic Joseph, who he considers a rat snitch. So to see Booker T come to his defense would be very interesting. That would be
Mhm.
kind of interesting if this all leads to, like, you know, Brooks Jensen going absolute ape shit and Booker T, like, you know, because Booker T can still go. You know,
Yeah.
Booker T
Oh
can
yeah.
still go. So I don't know. I think that would be kind of cool. Like, you know, he
Yeah.
because he already tried to pull some shit before, like twice actually, where they're like, oh, he's unhinged, and why is he getting so close to Vic Joseph? And then what if he actually tries to put hands on Vic Joseph? And
Yeah.
Booker T is like, only I can beat up on Vic Joseph, and he,
Literally.
yeah, and it's just
Then
like,
all hell breaks loose.
yeah, man, man,
Yeah. See, we're coming up with all sorts of stuff today.
just crazy fantasy
We're
booking.
on a
Cra-
we're on a roll.
yeah,
We're on a roll.
we're going crazy with the fantasy booking this week.
Well, speaking of fantasy booking, since the rumors just sort of popped up, Shane McMahon to AEW, do we actually think that that would ever happen? No.
It,
I don't think so because it's just like it's not like he has to stick it to anybody anymore because the one he'd be sticking it to is not there anymore. So it's just like,
right,
what would be the point?
right. And the only way I see this happening is because Shane McMahon, he's probably one of those jock athletes that, like, he blew out his quads on the
Yeah,
biggest stage of the world, and now he feels like some sort of redemption is needed, and he probably
yeah,
tried to get it through his brother-in-law, and Triple H is like, you
yeah,
really don't have to do that, it's okay. So he's like, his ego is a little bruised, it's a little hurt.
yeah,
He feels like he's still got some gas in the tank, and now he's gonna make some movement, shake the world up, and go to AEW. Do I see it happening? I don't think it's happening.
no,
I just see that as his motivation. He feels like
yeah,
he can still contribute something to professional wrestling. He wants to do it, you know, in his home company, but his brother-in-law not only is
said
about,
no,
yeah, his brother-in-law is all about making money and trying to scrub away what, you know, his father-in-law did to this company for the past 40 years.
yeah,
He's got that burden on his shoulder. So he doesn't need his freaking brother-in-law, who literally blew out his quads doing an up and over, you know. Yeah,
to make it the best.
yeah, it's just, yeah. But do I see it happening? Oh fuck. um
Nah, no,
nah, nah,
I don't.
because Shane McMahon is also a businessman, so he's not gonna go in there and just be like, yeah, I just want to perform for AEW. He probably wants a piece of the AEW business action. Then Tony Khan, this is where his inexperience in the wrestling world comes into play. It can be some manipulation. There's a whole lot of shit when you think about it, when you peel apart the layers of a potential Shane McMahon AEW relationship. And I don't know. I don't like that.
No, I don't like it either. I don't like it either. It's too no. So we'll just say no for the
Nah.
sake of it. It's not happening. Um, Kevin Kelly suing AEW. What are our thoughts?
Oh,
Uh, good luck.
yeah. That's funny because I was a guest on another podcast and that question came up. I actually listened to the interview that he did with Eric Bischoff, and the one thing was Eric Bischoff asked him if he was going to sue AEW, and he just quickly answered, "Yeah, I think I am gonna do that." But
Okay.
there was never an expansion upon that. Like, what are you gonna
Oh.
sue them for? Because
Oh, it's just I'm just gonna sue
yeah,
him.
yeah, it literally was just like, I'm gonna sue them, and that was the end of the conversation. And like
Okay.
dirt sheets, news sites, Eric Bischoff trying to get the clicks, they ran with that.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
if you listen to the actual interview, Eric Bischoff asked the question, he says, "Yeah, I think I am," and that's it. Like, literally
Yeah.
no sort of further explanation besides that. So I thought it was really weird. I thought it was just one of those things where Kevin Kelly's just saying shit to get a reaction, but he's bluffing. Because again, my surmise is like, how are you going to go up against AEW, which probably has 20 or 30 lawyers of their own? They would literally dismantle you in a legal sense. And
Yeah.
if they countersuit,
You're dead.
you're donezo, brother. So it's
Yeah.
ease up. Like, I can if he were to be like, yeah, because I felt like it was a wrongful termination,
Yeah.
my personal beliefs caused me to be terminated, and I thought that was unfair. Whatever, that could have been an argument, but for me, in terms of the interview, listening to it, I think he was just saying it, but he was just bluffing because he doesn't want to look like a weakling in the whole situation. Who would want to, you know?
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Nobody would.
because whether you agree with him or not, he feels like he was disrespected. So he's not gonna bow down with his tail tucked between his legs. If he has to
No.
use that as a bluffing tactic because he thinks it's gonna scare Tony Khan, then he will.
Good luck.
Yeah, but I don't think Tony Khan, whose father, has millions upon billions actually of dollars,
Yeah.
it's not going to be good for Kevin Kelly.
I don't think
Yeah,
so, but it either like it said, good luck.
yeah.
If that's the case, good luck. Probably not gonna happen, but hey, whatever. All right. Matt Hardy saying AEW wrestlers were worried more about 5-star matches and and storytelling. Do you agree? I feel like that's AEW in a nutshell. We've talked about it
Yeah,
before, where it's like they are the alternative, so they care more about the sports than the entertainment.
right.
Except the problem is you kind of need a little bit of both.
Yeah, like full disclosure, again, like I said earlier, if you're the type of wrestling fan that you don't care about storytelling or anything like that, you just want to see two good wrestlers wrestle a banger and get those 5 stars. Hey, that's totally within your right. That's cool as long as you're a positive wrestling fan. Who the fuck am I to be like, no, you're wrong about the way you consume entertainment. However, when you and I speak about adding drama and storyline to something that AEW is doing, it's only because we believe what they're doing. If they were to incorporate that, it would make it exponentially 10 times, 100 times better.
Yeah.
It's not a place of, we want you to do that because you're not doing it and WWE's doing it and WWE's better than AEW. No, that's not the case. And
No.
again, too, a point that I want to make is both you and I probably share the same sentiment. Is we're not looking for every AEW match to have the dramatic storyline of the Roman Reigns bloodline 4-year saga,
Yeah.
but just like 10% of some drama, even 5%. One guy bumps into another guy backstage, and now they're beefing because men can't control their egos.
Yeah.
Something like, just something to make us be like, oh yeah, now I want to see these two guys fight because they have some sort of beef with each other. Again,
Yeah.
the random mashup of dream matches, that's great. That's great. There is a place and a time for that. You can incorporate that within having more drama and storyline within AEW. And again, I'm not saying that there is no drama, there is no storyline in AEW, because there is. Main event scene has that thanks to that promo on Dynamite. But again,
Yeah.
it's just taking that 5-10%. And if we're gonna put it on TV, if it's gonna be a feud that leads to something, if it's gonna be a match, we have to give them, like you said, a reason to give a shit.
Yeah, make it make
You
sense.
make it make sense. Give us a reason to want to watch this, because if you give us, 3, 4 straight weeks of dream match between Will Ospreay and wrestler A or wrestler B, by week 3, we're gonna be like, man, like we've seen this. That's the biggest problem
Yeah.
with AEW. And I said this before on that other podcast, the Snug Wrestling podcast. They were nice enough to have me a guest on there. I said the problem with AEW is if you miss AEW for a week or two, you literally don't miss anything. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
unfortunately.
you can miss a week of AEW and then be like, I'll catch the highlights. Now imagine, and I'm not trying to pin this thumb versus thumb situation, but imagine if you miss a week or two of WWE programming.
Good luck.
Yeah, and you're trying to get back into what's going on. A week or two of WWE programming in terms of trying to keep up with the storylines and be invested, you're missing a lot. You know,
Yeah,
so it's just
too
like,
much.
yeah, it's just like we always say it. By the end of the show, we should be chomping at the bit to find out what happens next week, and we have no choice but to wait a whole 7 days. Unfortunately, we just feel like AEW doesn't give us that feeling. You know,
No,
you know,
and until they actually get into that mindset, they're not gonna come close to rivaling WWE's,
right,
so
right, right. Because again, to us, to you and I, the normal person, ratings don't mean shit. You know,
yeah.
ratings are important in terms of a business aspect for what WWE and AEW are trying to do. They are an entertainment entity that uses television to make money. So of course
Yeah.
ratings are going to be important to them. To you and I, it doesn't mean shit because we're just normal people. However, when you look at a rating that says only 502,000 people tuned into Dynamite, that's
Yeah.
not good. Like
No, that was
that
bad.
was bad. You mean to tell me Kendrick Lamar did that to AEW? That's crazy. And
Yeah.
to deny that fact by Dave Meltzer, oh, it wasn't Juneteenth, or not even acknowledging that Amazon put on this concert of Kendrick Lamar, and literally it set the world, the internet on fire.
Yeah.
And you got to say, like, that really didn't help AEW. But again, like I said, if you miss 1 to 2 weeks of AEW programming, if you miss a Dynamite, if you miss a Collision, I've done it. I have actually myself said, I'm kind of
Mhm.
burnt out on wrestling this week. I'm going to watch something else. It's on my DVR. If I watch it, I watch it. If I don't, I don't. I've
Yep.
said that before, with AEW. I've not said that with WWE in quite some time.
And that tells you all you need to know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Uh, ooh, this is a good one. Do we think today's market, with fans' attention spans being what they are, do you think WWE or AEW or even TNA could do a tournament exclusive pay per view where you see some of the same wrestlers wrestle 3 to 4 times on the card?
Mm.
That'd be pretty interesting. I mean, I feel like if it's just the pay per view, possibly, because I feel like anymore, and then I think the fans go the complete opposite way where it's like, oh no, I'm tired of seeing the same person over and over again. But depends on who, I guess.
It
But
you would have to, again, the prize at the end of the tunnel, would
yeah,
have to mean something important, because again, that's the thing that's going to hook people is, okay, you put them in a tournament, what's the prize?
yeah,
What's the reason we should care? If it's just like, oh, they won, like, okay. And that kind of feels like what it is with the Owen. I mean, they have the caveat of the main event at All In, which is a step up, but before it was like they won. Okay.
yeah. And then 2 weeks later, it's like, yeah, we don't care about that
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. So it's like at least they're fixing it. But yeah, I've always wanted to see that style of tournament on a big wrestling promotion like WWE or AEW, because it does so well for New Japan in terms of intrigue and the drama and the spectacle of a really long tournament where it's a point system, and if you lose 2 straight matches, your back's against the wall and you're going
Yeah,
up against the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, in the company, and it's just a grind. That's the one thing you hear about the G1 is that it's a grind. But there's a reason that guys like Danielson and Moxley and almost every other wrestler that was a fan of, that early 90s King's Road strong style Japanese wrestling style. That's why they have such fond admiration for the G1 Climax tournament. It's just so I literally always thought that would work great, and that's why it frustrates me that the Owen Hart only has 8 people each bracket.
Yeah.
Especially when AEW has the most bloated roster in all of professional wrestling. They literally have 2 companies.
Yeah. If you want to call it a company, but yeah.
Why is it?
And one of them even has a surprise entrant, and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
So as that makes sense.
So why aren't we using Billy Starks in the Women's Own Cup? Why aren't we using Queen Aminata? Trisha Dora, they have a crop of women that can wrestle their ass off. And then if they want to, they really have to put their foot down, their balls on the table and say, hey, we created this Forbidden Door concept shit. So this is your chance to go. We're going to bring in a couple ladies from Mexico. We're going to bring in a couple ladies from Japan, not just our normal Hikaru Shida, Yuka Sakazaki, or Emi Sakura. We're going to bring in somebody else too. Why are we using this to introduce Camille Brickhouse? There's another wrestler, I believe Megan Bain. I've never seen any of her work, but she's another one that apparently she's signed to AEW. She's not signed to AEW. She's signed and they haven't figured out how to use her yet. It's like, even if she's not, why are we not bringing her in for this tournament if she's got such a big name? Stephanie Cure, why ain't she in this?
It's like, what's happening?
It's just like, what is going on? Again, I could be wrong about it because I don't work there. I don't know the inner workings. I'm just an outsider like everybody else. It's just I want more. I want more for them. They can be so much better.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just the easiest way to put it. I don't know. Who knows? All right, so our final question of the night. Wrestlers have pumped products over the years, such as Hogan and the Right Guard deodorant, Flair and the stupid energy drink, and Paul and the stupid other energy drink. What would be our favorite product we've tried that a wrestler endorsed?
See, that's tough.
Jack said Hook Chips. He actually had a response to that, which makes sense.
That would have been great. That's money left on the table by AEW not to get into the chip market, because from what I can see, it's fairly easy just to get something marketed like a potato chip, like it's
something, anything.
So that's tough, because most of this stuff nowadays, they have endorsed products, but again, it's like the energy drink stuff. It's not like that.
It was stupid shit.
Yeah, there was nothing when I was a kid. The only thing I can think of that was not WWF owned or even WCW was when Macho Man was doing the Slim Jim commercials. That was the only thing I could think of because as a kid, it wasn't necessarily stuff that's licensed outside of wrestling but endorsed by wrestlers. It was all the wrestling merchandise. Unfortunately, my introduction to professional wrestling was being a massive Hulk Hogan fan, and my mother literally brought me everything Hulk Hogan. I had posters. I even had the workout set with Paul Orndorff doing the stupid commercial with the little kid. I had a Hulk Hogan door hanger. I was deep into it. So literally as a kid, it was anything Hulk Hogan related was licensed to print money. And, so that and of course the WWF ice cream bars were always my favorite. I don't know if you ever got a chance to eat one of those,
Probably not.
but it was, for some reason, I feel like as an adult, I'd be like, oh, this tastes like styrofoam. But as a kid,
Probably does.
yeah, but as a kid, those things were delicious. So, yeah. So again, it wasn't necessarily anything wrestler endorsed, more so it was like company product. If you printed anything with Hulk Hogan, I was a walking mark, not literally, because again I can't walk, but like my mother was like a walking, like, we can get her with this Hulk Hogan stuff because her son likes Hulk Hogan. So anything Hulk Hogan, unfortunately,
it's okay. Change everything changes for a reason.
Everything changed. There's a guy I saw like a couple weeks ago on YouTube. It's a video, and this guy literally has a shrine of every single piece of Hulk Hogan merchandise from every single era of his career. And like, it was so fascinating that the fact that like Hogan's a bad person like literally escaped my mind. And I'm like, I literally hope this guy has good security, because if he gets robbed, I'm telling you, this guy had it had to be a couple $1 million worth of Hulk Hogan merchandise that could have been appraised at $1 million.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
It was insane.
That does sound fun. That does sound fucking wild to have that kind of money just to do stuff like that.
I'm gonna send you the video, because it was just like, it was, oh my god, I can't believe this guy has this.
Oh, please do. I'd be fascinated to see that kind of stuff.
It would blow your mind.
I'm trying to think of if there's anything that I'm sure Mom can fact check me if I'm incorrect about not really remembering anything that I've like, oh my god, the wrestler used this, so I absolutely have to. But the closest thing that I can come to it, and it's not really, like I said, it's not really like an endorsed thing, but it was more of like a promotional item, was way back in the day, SummerSlam 2005. Hogan Michaels, first time ever, like that promotional poster.
Yeah.
I think it was probably Pizza Hut, I think, had like the poster on the box, the pizza box. And like any family back in the day, we would always like buy the pay-per-view off the cable TV, so we would watch it. And I think we must have had pizza that night, because I remember for years upon years upon years in my childhood bedroom, I had the top of that pizza box where it was Hogan versus Michaels, first time ever, SummerSlam 2005, like just in my room, just leaning up against my dresser for 20-something years at that point. But that's pretty much as close as I got to any like promotional anything. But that was about it. I usually am not one to go, oh my god, well, somebody I likes it, so I absolutely have to have it. It's like, okay, cool, if it interests me, great, but
yeah, because
I'm not gonna buy it just because Dakota or Shayna said it was cool.
Right, because nowadays it's like the products that they endorse or that they even put their faces on, and not only wrestlers but celebrities in general. It's more so like, this isn't even a cool product. This is a product that is just mass produced to make a quick
cash grab.
Yeah, it's a cash grab. Exactly. Like, look at Pokimane, the famous streamer. She made those cookies that were like, they were like $28 for a bag of cookies, and you only get like 6 of them, and they're like disgusting. And they're like, oh well, all she did was take a company's name off of the company. She kept everything the same and just changed the name. So it's like, a lot of these celebrities and people, they endorse these products that they really don't even give a crap about. They just see it as another revenue. It's not like back in like my age when I was a kid and we didn't have internet or we didn't have video games or anything like that to keep us occupied. It was the stupid shit like the WrestleMania game. Or my favorite thing was I had a toy wrestling ring. It was a regular toy wrestling ring, but my god, did I wear that thing out with my action figures playing wrestling.
Yeah,
that thing was like my prized possession.
I can believe it. Those are the days, the simpler days. All right, so we've done it. We're done. We did all the questions.
We finished it. Wow.
Did the thing.
We did the thing. Well,
and it's only 10:30.
I
Like,
know we're on a roll. We probably just jinxed it, but we're on a roll in terms
yeah,
of getting done early.
I know. I might get to watch I think I'm gonna actually get to watch the Accolade, so I don't have it spoiled for me because it's come very close a couple times. So,
Oh man. So yeah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You got our predictions for Sunday's Forbidden Door pay-per-view and all the other stuff going on within the world of professional wrestling answered by us because the listeners want to know what we think. So that we think that's pretty cool. Just to let you guys know, this podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts on all types of podcast platforms. It's on the major ones like Spotify, Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, all those. If you have a particular platform that you use that you cannot find the Ringside Rundown on, hit us up on social media and DM us and let us know. We will send you a link on a silver platter, but the caveat is you have to give the silver platter back. Why? Because we only have one, exactly. So we need it back, but we will get you a link to the podcast. Again, like I said, it's on all major platforms like Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. To get in touch with us, we're on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Ringside Rundown is the handle for each of those. Again, that's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Ringside Rundown. We're also on YouTube where you get full episodes of the podcast, highlights, plus the majority of the content on there are shorts, which are basically highlights to the streams that I do weekly. We're on YouTube. Ringside Run Pod is the username there. Like I said, I do streams for all AEW and WWE shows at twitch.tv/ringside rundown. If you want to get in touch with me personally, you can find me at Wrestling Chron. That's Wrestling CHRON on Twitter. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
you can find me on Twitter at Shailene Hickson 21, and that is about it.
Yeah, you got it easy. Now I'm starting to feel like what Excalibur feels when he has to run down a pay-per-view card.
Literally going down the whole thing within 30 seconds and he's gonna pass out.
Yeah, my dumbass somehow has a lot going on for some reason. But
we gotta keep things happening.
Yeah, definitely find us on whether it's social media, any of the avenues. I forgot to mention we're even on TikTok. Ladies and gentlemen. Ringside_rundown. Our TikTok's going crazy. We're getting like 50 to 60 new followers a week. For some reason, again, they enjoy my dumb face and my dumb quips when it comes to wrestling, but they do enjoy the podcast, and Shay Hickson is a big reason for that. So
I do what I can.
You do a damn good job. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
Thank you. Same here.
All right. So for Shay Hickson, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eric Vasquez. This is the Ringside Rundown podcast, and we shall talk to you next time. Take care, ladies and gentlemen.
See you later, guys.